Well, gold can be found in soil, which embeds in our next conversation in our Tech Note here morning at NTV Seeds of Gold Farm Clinic in Serere. I am Priscilla Regina Naloga. Welcome to this discussion. Now, the backbone of it is that Seeds of Gold farming clinics have become a famous thing and a forum where experts and farmers meet to share information about the most pressing problems facing agriculture in the industry as well as in the different regions. Now, to talk to us about this, we do have one of the people in agriculture and other credit facility schemes under the Bank of Uganda, and that is Sarah Nantongo Mubuuke. You're most welcome.
Thank you very much.
And then also we are joined by Jubilee Insurance, the Chief Operations Officer, Mr. Sylvester Nzioka. You're most welcome.
Thank you very much, Priscilla.
Okay. Now, before we dip into this conversation on a personal note, let me start with you, Mr. Sylvester. Do you have a farm? Are you engaged in farming in any way? And what's the outstanding challenge it has been for you?
Thank you, Priscilla, for having me on this show. Yes, I do have a small farm back in Kenya, a small child with some fruits and a few food crops, maize, beans, and cowpeas. The biggest challenge has always been the unpredictability of whether you'll harvest anything from your farm. Due to several challenges, like the weather could go bad, it could be attacked by pests. And so that has been the main reason when you are putting in money to buy seeds and the other farm inputs. Are you going to get anything back?
Okay. All right. Sarah, in your capacity as an individual, do you have a small farm in your backyard?
Oh, yes, I do. Have a small farm where I have some banana plantations and usually plant maize depending on the season. But our main challenge has been the seeds. The right seeds, when to plant, and what exactly will the output be in case we've invested the money we've put in the business. So it is not really predictable, and of course there are always some pests and diseases that come and attack the plants, besides the management issues. Yes.
And this is general to all farmers here in Uganda, but more so focal to the farmers in Serere. So we want to find out as to why Jubilee Insurance and Bank of Uganda jumped on board for this activation. Starting with you, Sylvester, why did Jubilee Insurance find it prime for you to jump on Seeds of Gold farming clinics?
So we really looked at our strategy and came up with different pillars, and one of the pillars that we came up with was sustainability. And the question we asked ourselves was, other than the financial returns that we're getting as a company, how can we contribute to the society for long-term sustainability of our company to make sure that 100 years from now we'll still have a company called Jubilee Alliance running and having insurance. And we looked at the various sectors where we could have an impact, and agriculture was a clear winner in where we could go into. And the reason for this was obvious. One, agriculture is the biggest employer in most African countries today, and economies talk about the multiplier effect. A small input in the agriculture value chain has a huge impact on the entire country. And we're looking at what we can do if we have farmers, especially the subsistence farmers, able to grow their crops and be sure that they can harvest something and get food and sell whatever remains. Because we're looking at the impact it will have on even things like balance of trade, when we don't have to import grain from a country at war like Ukraine, saving us a lot of foreign exchange. We're also looking at the possibility of even now turning that and exporting this grain to other countries, and turning from importing to exporting, and so earning the country some foreign exchange. But we're also looking at the farmer, the impact on the farmer himself. They're able to feed themselves, they're able to educate their children, they're able to take care of their basic needs without having to beg on the street. And so for this was a way to give back to the society, to grow it as a whole, holistically speaking, so that even for us, we are assured that tomorrow we'll have people who are able to buy insurance, and we are not getting profit today, but tomorrow we have to close shop.
Okay, all right. Sarah, the Bank of Uganda has been very instrumental to the extent that they have a whole division for an agriculture credit facility. And so we commend the bank for that. Now, in that regard, what were the opportunities that you were looking to tap into and present to Ugandans through this activation partnership?
Thank you very much. The Bank of Uganda, as you have already said, has that agricultural credit facility, and our main objective is to promote commercialization of agriculture through provision of medium to long-term financing with a focus on value addition, and it is mainly to agro-processors, people involved in grain trade, and this has been an opportunity that has been offered by the government of Uganda in partnership with other financial institutions that are regulated by Bank of Uganda. And what we are looking to tap into is to offer this credit to beneficiaries that have not been able to access it in the previous years. The fund has been around since 2009, and looking at what we have with the partnership with Seeds of Gold, we have been able to traverse the country. The various years we've been partnering, and we've seen an influx in the number of applications that we've been receiving from the various regions in Uganda. So this partnership has come in handy in helping us reach out to the population and informing them about the availability of the funds.
Okay. Since the inception of the division agriculture credit facility, what have been the milestones that you have realized through that credit facility to Ugandans?
Yeah. Thank you. One of our major milestones was is that we have been able to extend over 800 billion to over 3,500 borrowers and the agricultural credit facility, and that goes without mentioning that just in the previous year we had an increase of about 53% in the number of applications that we have received. We also were able to initiate the block allocation arrangement, which attracts micro borrowers and people who are mainly participating in the Seeds of Gold farm clinics, and these are people who are borrowing amounts less than 20 million, where collateral, registered collateral is not mandatory. These applications have also increased by 67%, to the extent that we have over 2,000 that have accessed this fund under the block allocation arrangement. This has also led to improvement in the inclusion of people who, the unbanked population in Uganda. And this, since to access the agricultural credit facility you need an account, most of them have been able to open accounts, and we are beginning to register an improvement in the number of people, number of accounts that are being opened daily because of such arrangements. That goes without saying that people have been employed. We've improved the level of employment, especially of the youth. There are many people who have been idle in the past, but now they have something that they can do, something that they can do that can earn them a living. And we've also we've seen a contribution to export promotion. We are seeing more Ugandan products being exported, and that also contributes to the GDP of the nation. We've also noted that financial institutions have become confident in lending to the agriculture sector, since it's a risky sector. In the past, banks were not willing to lend to this very risky sector, but because of this partnership there has been government subsidy, and it has increased their level of confidence in the public accessing funds through the financial institutions.
Oh, thank you so much, Sarah. Sylvester, she mentions keywords, risk sector.
Yes.
And so this risky sector, the bank feared it, but it now shares testimony of it. And so how is it that the insurance sector has also seen an opportunity in a risky sector?
Well, insurance itself is in the business of risk. If there was no risk, there will be no insurance. And the sole reason why insurance is there is because it is anticipated someone will come and claim. And when we pay the claim, then for us is even a selling point to the next bit. The way we look at it is, even the way insurance started was a group of people saying, we're selling, but there's a risk that we might not come back. So let's pull together our resources, and in case one of us doesn't come back, then we give them this money. But we look at it more of, from those risks, how can we help ourselves and also help the community at large in managing that risk, because insurance is one of methods in which through you can manage the risks that you face. The other two being you can just decide to avoid it, or the other one you accept and say the risk is too small, but the cost will not be huge. But so if then you look at it and you think that the risk will be too huge, then you transfer it, and insurance is one of the ways to transfer that risk.
Okay,
yeah.
So now we're looking to the farm clinic going to Serere.
Yes.
And what are the anticipated questions from the farmers in Serere to Jubilee Alliance in your partnership and aid to help them, you know, deal with that risk element?
So one of the things that we anticipate was, first of all, insurance to most people is still an alien concept. And they might not understand how insurance comes in and how it can help them. So one of the questions and one of the answers, you know, in anticipation that we are already preparing even before we asked is, how can you benefit from this insurance? And there are several aspects. One of which I've said is, you know, you can do everything in your powers. You till the land, you put all the farm inputs, you put the right seeds, but then a flood comes and all the crops are washed away, or the animals are washed away, or there's drought, and because most of agriculture is rain-fed, then the crops do not grow as expected, or the crops that you had planted are attacked by a pest. What happens? All the investment that you had put there goes down the drain. But that's how insurance comes in and tells you, look, it doesn't have to be that way. We know there are things that are beyond your control, and as much as you've tried or you can, something might happen to set you back. So when that something happens, we are here to support you. We'll provide you a cushion through which you had anticipated you'll get probably 10 times your cost of input. We are giving you that despite the fact that you did not harvest, because it was something that you did not anticipate. We also going to tell them about the government subsidy program for their premiums, and telling them that you don't have to pay 100% of the premium of the cost of this insurance, and the government has come in with a boost so that what you pay is a fraction of what you would have paid. We'll also tell them that the insurance is not just about these crops and all, but on all other aspects. You might have a tractor on the farm or a pickup that you transfer the produce to the market with. You will need also, after harvesting, you might need to secure the harvest so that in case something happens between your farm and the market, and either it burns or there's an accident and it is spoiled, that you can also insure it. But also, more importantly, is also you as a person, because the human element is the most critical input in anything. And so in case there's an accident and you're not able to till the land, then how do you still ensure that you have a protection? We do have a insurance product like a personal accident, which acts like an income replacement that you can have and make sure that in case you're not able to go to the farm because there's an accident, then the income that you had anticipated will still come in. So for us, the question will be, we anticipate is, how does insurance guarantee that where I aim to be is where I'll end up, despite things that are beyond my control happening in between?
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Sylvester. Now, turning to you, Bank of Uganda. One of the issues, of course, is access to the facility. The other issue is the paperwork that comes with accessing, the desire to access that credit facility. And so people usually fear. And then the other thing that complements that is how, you know, the people on the side of the division also are too tough. And they just make it a little bit difficult for you to confront them, and then they ask difficult questions that make you go back, you know, and let me look for a circle from which I can borrow. So what are the anticipations for the people of Serere, and how do you how will you help them overstep those challenges that have existed previously?
Thank you very much. You've been very truthful about the issues that face clients in accessing financing and approaching banks, because many of the people fear the banks, more or less. Bank of Uganda.
And then they dress in suits and you're like, this person, if I fail, they'll come for me with everything that I have.
So what we are doing this time around at Serere, we are going to be having Bank of Uganda present in an open space. We are going to have the participating financial institutions that are responsible for issuing these loans to the borrowers present with Bank of Uganda. And one of the major challenges we've had in the past was that banks have been hiding this facility from the borrowers. So this time around, we are going to be having them under the same roof with Bank of Uganda, and anyone who is intending to borrow or would like to know more about the facility will be able to access us. We're going to be having different institutions, so depending on which institution you bank with, you will have a representative. They will be able to explain to you what exactly is required for you to have in order to access that fund from their institution. That aside, we are also going to be having a conversation about the Small Business Recovery Fund. There is a government scheme that was approved and issued out and launched in 2021, and it's a Small Business Recovery Fund. It is a fund meant to help any business that struggled during the COVID-19 lockdown and has potential for recovery. If anyone is in that category, we are going to be having a discussion around that, because these funds are also accessed through the financial institutions that will be present, and the interest rate is attractive at 10% per annum. So we are going to be having a conversation as well about the Small Business Recovery Fund, and borrowers will be able to know what is required, what they need to present, and how they can be helped by the financial institution in order to access these funds.
Okay, all right. So I hope that's going to have like a, after training and follow-ups of just to enable these farmers get on board, because information is key for them to appreciate what the bank is doing. So at the end of the day, there's anticipated expectations and achievements from both of you. With Jubilee Alliance, what are the expected achievements this time next year in the agricultural sector with your input and support?
So our expectations are twofold. The first one, of course, is because of the community where we are going to do this, and we'd like to see agriculture, sustainable agriculture, take root. One of the things that is also being done here is the planting of fruit trees, other than just the cassavas, the millet, the maize that the farmers are practicing, which then first also helps protect the environment, but also adds to the buffet of offering that these farmers have. And so our expectation is next year, same time, that these farmers are more empowered, have better incomes, have better knowledge of what agriculture can do, and they turn then to be the disciples who spread the gospel of how agriculture is good. The second one is, because for a long time, insurance in Uganda has been concentrated around Kampala, and this is one way for us to go outside Kampala and reach more people and have more people know the benefits of insurance. Of course, our prayer and our hope is nothing happens that forces us to pay, because at that time it is not good for anyone. You could get the financial compensation, but there are other impacts that insurance cannot help with. There is also the psychological effect. There is the feeling of setback. We don't have food in Uganda. So our hope is that it doesn't happen. But in case it happens, we want to be there to help the farmers recover as quickly as possible. Okay,
all right. Sarah, with the Bank of Uganda and the Division of Agriculture Credit Facility, how do you hope this is going to improve food security in the country within the coming times?
Yeah, thank you very much. We know that the main source of food in Uganda is from agriculture. We don't usually import food, and we hope that with these farm clinics taking place, especially the one in Serere, we hope that we shall have more people taking on agriculture as a business, not just for subsistence. We are hoping that by the end of this, by this time next year, we shall be having more applications coming from Soroti and from the Eastern region. And we are hoping that the information that we are going to disseminate will help them turn their lives around and improve their household incomes as well. This is not just about agriculture, it's also about improving their livelihoods at the end of the day. So we are believing that after these farm clinics, we shall be able to have more applications coming from the region, and the people from Soroti and the Eastern region will be enjoying much better lives at the end of the day.
All right, from what they've shared with us, I personally feel compelled to now move to Serere to be able to benefit from this farming clinic with seeds of gold. But thank you so much, Sarah Nantongo, who's the head Credit Appraisal and Publicity, Agriculture and Other Credit Schemes Division under the Bank of Uganda. And of course, Mr. Sylvester Nzioka, who is the Chief Operations Officer with the Jubilee Insurance. And so with this confidence that they've given us, we can be able to, instrumentally drive the president's agenda of an agro-industrialized sector in the near future. That marks the end of this conversation, but do stay with us for one more conversation coming up.